Okay, so here are the vocabulary words that you added in yesterday: two-dimensional, polygon, vertex, line segments, and angles. So make sure that those are in your math log. And then I'm going to go back to my notes section and look at that purple paper that you put in yesterday, understanding that these are all polygons on this sheet, all of them. Let's talk about what makes a polygon. It's the line. Okay, these are the endpoints of the line. And this is another line segment, and that's its endpoints. And whenever they make endpoints together, those are called the vertices, okay, vertex. And then the angles are in the inside. So when you have at least 3 line segments that all close to make a closed figure, all of these are closed, okay, they're not open. These are all the different types of polygons, and there's many, many more, but that's a good example. So how many sides they are based on what they're called. So 3 sides, they're triangles. 4 sides, quadrilaterals, because quad means 4. 5 sides, pentagon. 6 sides, hexagon. And then 8-sided octagon. Okay, so those are how they're named. So flip over for me to your next available sheet. So polygons. Regular polygons, all of the sides and angles are congruent. Congruent means they're the same. Okay, so I'm going to give you the sheet. You're going to glue that in, and I'm wanting you to understand what regular polygons are. Regular polygons means that this line and this line and this line are all the same length, and this angle and this angle and this angle are all the same angle. This is what makes it a regular polygon. So on the purple sheet, there were a lot of triangles, but unless all the sides are equal or congruent, it is not a regular polygon, okay? This is a square, and a square is a polygon, a regular polygon, because we know a square, all the sides are the same, and all the angles are the same. And because it's 4-sided, it is a quadrilateral. Even though we know this is a square, it's a quadrilateral. Okay, so the pentagon, all of those sides are the same. So to be a regular polygon, all of your sides have the same length, it's a closed figure, and all of the angles are the same angle. So go ahead and glue that into your math log, and then we're going to move on to triangles. So we're at the front of our math log. And I want you to go ahead and in your table of contents, you are going to write triangles and today's date. And this is going to go in the notes section as well. Okay, we are going to put a few things in the vocabulary section. So first I'm going to go to vocab. And I'm on this clear sheet because I rented a room over there. So I want to first know that an equilateral triangle. Okay, an equilateral triangle is a triangle that has 3 congruent sides. A triangle. And what does congruent mean again? Congruent means they're all the same. A triangle that has 3 congruent sides. So I'm going to just draw a little picture here. What that means is that all of the sides are the same. So I'm going to put a little mark there. When you see that little mark, what they're telling you is they're all the same length. Okay? And then when you see this, that's telling you that's an angle. All right? So like this could be 5 inches, 5 inches, 5 inches. Okay? So equilateral. The next one I want you to write is an isosceles triangle. So that's I-S-O. Isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. A triangle that has two congruent sides. So two sides are the same length. So that's going to look possibly something like this. So these two would be the same, okay? And then a scalene triangle is a triangle with no congruent sides. So it could be anything. It could go this way, and then maybe it's here, and maybe it's there. Maybe they're just all different lengths, okay? So maybe this is 6 inches, this is 9 inches, and this is 7 inches. We just know that none of those are the same, okay? Very important is that all the angles in any triangle always equal 180. And we'll talk about that in just a second whenever we get done with our vocabulary, okay? So we're going to talk about now, so we talked about the lengths of the outsides. Now let's talk about the insides of the triangles. So a right triangle is a triangle with one right angle. Okay, so it's going to look like this. It's going to have that little square in the side of it. So a right angle, right triangle. Okay, that little square means 90. Okay, an obtuse, if you'll remember, obtuse triangle is a triangle with one obtuse angle. Okay, so that would look like where it's real big on one of the angles. So like this would be bigger, remember? And remember that obtuse is more than 90 degrees. So obtuse is an angle. So I'm just going to write a little note right there. Obtuse equals more than 90 degrees. So if it's bigger than 90, it's obtuse. Right equals 90 degrees. Exactly. Okay. We'll highlight these off in just a second. And then an acute triangle has 3 acute angles. So is a triangle that has 3 acute angles. So, and then remember acute equals less than 90 degrees. So that would be an angle or a triangle that has all of those littler angles. Okay, so let me highlight off those vocabulary words. So coming back to up, we have equilateral triangle, we have an isosceles triangle, scalene triangle, right triangle, obtuse triangle, and acute triangle. And within that, we have some different little notes, okay? All right. So if you'll go to the notes section of your notebook and label the next page triangles. Okay. And then we are going to add this sheet in. So the same thing, I am going to fold it up. It's on purple paper as well. You're going to fold it up and we're going to glue that into our math log. But let's just look at this together for a few minutes. So classifying triangles by lengths. So a scalene triangle, none of the sides, okay, lengths. So scalene, none of the sides are the same. No congruent sides, no congruent angles. So this cannot be a regular polygon, can it? Because a regular polygon, all the sides are the same and all the angles are the same, okay? An isosceles triangle, two congruent sides, so these two are the same, and those two angles are the same. But not all the sides are the same. So an isosceles triangle is not a regular polygon. It's an irregular polygon. Then we have our equilateral triangle. Three congruent sides, three congruent angles. All of the sides are the same. All of the angles are the same. So an equilateral triangle, this one is your regular polygon. Okay. All right, let's look at classifying triangles by their angles, the inside of them. A right triangle, that little square means it's 90 degrees. It's one right angle. Acute triangle, three acute angles. And remember acute, so a right angle, right equals 90 degrees. Acute angles equal less than 90 degrees. And then obtuse, you can only have one obtuse angle because remember all triangles equal 180 degrees. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So obtuse equals more than 90 degrees. And up here, probably one of the most important things that you need to remember, and you can highlight this or underline it. Triangles are plain two-dimensional figures. So triangles are two-dimensional, okay? A triangle is a three-sided polygon. The sum, what does sum mean? It means to add, right? So it means to add up all of the measures of the three angles. So all of those three angles of any triangle equals 180 degrees, and we did this last year. Triangles can be classified based on the information about their sides and their angles, okay? So this is how we're going to classify them. So your sheet is purple. If you will go ahead and glue that in to triangles for me underneath that. So that's going to go into your notes. All right, so we are going to work these questions together on this side, and then the back is going to be your try me. Okay, so right here, classify triangles by the lengths of their sides. So going back to your purple sheet that you just glued into your math log, if you will look at that, it will help you answer these questions, okay? So open that up on your desk. An equilateral triangle has how many congruent sides? Well, if you look, that's 3 inches, that's 3 inches, that's 3 inches. So equilateral means they're all the same. So it has 3 congruent sides. Okay. An isosceles triangle has how many congruent sides? Well, how many are the exact same? Remember, this little line is going to let you know that those are the same. So that's 3 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches. So I had 2 congruent. And then scalene has how many are the same? Well, I have 5, 4, and 3. So I have 0 congruent. Classify triangles by the measures of their angles. A right triangle has one 90-degree or what type of angle? Right angle. An acute triangle has 3 acute angles. And an obtuse triangle has 1 obtuse angles. So they're named, these are named based on the angle in them. Okay? So a right, if it has a right triangle, excuse me, a right angle, it's going to be a right triangle. If it has no, all of the angles are less than 90, it's going to be an acute triangle. And then if it has one big one, one obtuse one, it's going to be an obtuse triangle. So using your classifying triangles, I want you to work the back of this, okay? And then you are going to turn your try me into the bucket. And then we are going to move on to quadrilaterals. All right, so we're going to go into, so we've done polygons, triangles, and now we're in quadrilaterals. Okay, and today is still 126, and we are still going to be in the notes section, even though we are putting some words in vocabulary. All right, so first let's turn to vocabulary and add those new words in. And I am, again, at the bottom of my page, so I'm going to go ahead and go to a new page. So my first word is going to be quadrilateral. And a quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides and 4 angles. A quadrilateral is a polygon So a quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides and 4 angles. Okay. Parallelogram. A parallelogram is also a quadrilateral, okay? But it has opposite sides that are congruent and parallel. Parallelogram has opposite sides that are congruent and parallel. And I'm going to give you an example of all of these after we're done with vocabulary. A rectangle is a special parallelogram with 4 right angles and 2 pairs of congruent sides. Okay. A rhombus it's a special parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. And then the last one that we're going to write is a square. And it's a special parallelogram with 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. Okay, so those are your vocabulary words. I want you can underline them or highlight them or whatever you want to do there. So I'm going to go back up. So quadrilateral, parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, and square. So those are my words. And then if you will go to the notes section of your notebook. Okay, at the top of your notebook, if you will label that quadrilaterals. You can't see that. And remember that quadrilaterals means there's 4 sides, okay? So all of your quadrilaterals have 4 sides. So you are going to get this sheet. We're going to do the same thing where we turn it and we glue it in. But first, I want to talk about each of these. A general quadrilateral just means it has 4 sides and 4 angles, okay? So if you have 4 connecting sides, they connect. They make 4 vertices. We know that quadrilaterals are polygons, okay? This isn't a regular polygon, though. It's an irregular, okay? We go parallelogram. Parallelogram, this side is the same as this side. And then this one is the same as this one. So opposite sides are parallel and congruent. These sides are parallel and congruent. Parallel means they're never going to touch. They're just going to keep going. Rectangle, opposite sides are parallel. Adjacent sides are perpendicular, okay? Opposite sides are congruent. They're the same length. That one's the same length as this one. This one's the same length as this one. And then there's 4 right angles in it. So rectangle, those are its properties. Rhombus, opposite sides are parallel. So this one runs parallel to this one runs parallel to this one, and all 4 of them are congruent. A square, opposite sides are parallel, adjacent sides are perpendicular, 4 congruent sides, all the lengths are the same, and then all the angles are the same. They're all right angles. And then a trapezoid, which we didn't write that one in. Trapezoid, each exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. So this one is parallel to this one. These are not parallel because if we kept drawing it up, they would eventually crash, okay? So let's go to the top and take this apart. Quadrilaterals are 2-dimensional. A quadrilateral is a 4-sided polygon. The sum of the measures of the 4 angles of any quadrilateral is 360. Sum means to add. So the sum of the measures of the 4 angles of a quadrilateral equals 360. So those angles inside are going to equal 360. Just like on a triangle, they equal 180, okay? And then quadrilaterals are classified based on information about their sides, angles, and properties. So, such as parallel sides, perpendicular sides, a quadrilateral is a 4-sided polygon. Okay? So you are going to turn that where it fits in your math log and glue that in, and then fold that up for me. All right, so you are going to take this sheet right here. Let me move it up so you can see the whole thing. And you are going to cut out this big rectangle, okay? What it shows you is that Quadrilaterals include parallelograms, rhombuses, rectangles, squares, and trapezoids. All of those go in the big box of quadrilaterals, okay? But trapezoids are kind of by themselves, right? They're quadrilaterals, they're four-sided, but they're by themselves. What I need you to know is parallelograms, if you're a parallelogram, okay, you could be just a parallelogram, but you're also a quadrilateral. Let's say you're a rectangle. If you're a rectangle, you're also a parallelogram and you're a quadrilateral. If you're a rhombus, you're also a parallelogram and you're also a quadrilateral. But if you are a square, a way cool square, you go in the middle here because you are a square, a rectangle, a rhombus, a parallelogram, and a quadrilateral. You're all of them because you have all of the right properties. So what you're going to do is you are going to cut this big rectangle out and you are going to glue it into your math log. It's quadrilaterals, okay? You're then going to cut these little shapes out neatly and you are going to glue them where they fit. Are they a parallelogram, a trapezoid, a rectangle, a square, a rhombus? Wherever they fit, you are going to glue them in. My hint for you is that there is truly only going to be, I think, one, possibly two in this little circle, that little circle right there, okay? So again, if you're a way cool square, you are a square, a rectangle, a rhombus, a parallelogram, and a quadrilateral, okay? So you're going to cut these shapes out and glue them where they go. When you are done with that, you are going to use all of those notes that you just took, and you are going to complete your Try Me. Okay, so this is your Try Me. It'll be printed on your desk. So you have 2 Try Me's for today. You had one for triangles. Well, you may need to finish up your polygons. So if you didn't finish up polygons, you need to finish it. Then you have a Try Me for your triangles. Then you have a Try Me for your quadrilaterals. So a lot of work, but if you're working, you will be able to get done with that. All right. When you are done with that, then you may get on to compass or reflex, either one. But we are going to make sure that we are done with all of our work today because we are moving on to, we're going to assess over this on Monday and then coordinate planes after that.